listening to the ESQ Marketing Podcast, hosted by Mathew Laurin, President of ESQ.Marketing, where he features successful solo and SMB law firms from all over the United States. Now, let's get started with the show.
Hey, I'm Mathew Laurin, President of ESQ.Marketing, and you're listening to the ESQ Marketing Podcast, where I feature successful solo and SMB law firms from all over the United States. I have Jeremy Wise here, who has done thousands of interviews with successful entrepreneurs, investors, and CEOs, and we have flipped the script, and he will be interviewing me today.
Matt, thanks for having me. You know, you have like a radio voice. It sounds like official when you're talking. We have a cool episode, which is top 2 shortcuts to rank if you're a law firm. All right. So you're a law firm out there, you should be listening to this episode. And I'm excited because obviously, Matt, you and I both know this applies to a lot of different industries, or a lot of different types of law firms too. It doesn't matter what kind of law firm you are. So stay tuned for that. But this episode is brought to you by ESQ.Marketing. You can go to ESQ.Marketing. They've been doing this stuff for 10 years. Okay. So enough said. They help law firms generate more clients and cases using search marketing. So I've learned a lot just listening to you, Matt. So we'll dig in, but if they have questions, they can go to ESQ.Marketing and contact you and the team there.
Of course.
Right? So top 2 shortcuts to rank if you're a law firm.
Yes. Yeah. And I hate to call them shortcuts because there's really no shortcut in SEO, but there are some things you can do that can get you some exposure a little bit faster while you're kind of working on your organic rankings for the site. And happy to share them with you.
So there's going to be a bonus one. I say 2, but there's a third. But what's the first one?
So a lot of times when there are competitive keyword phrases, the first couple of sites to show up in organic search results are the really authoritative directories. And if you're an attorney, you kind of know what those are already. It's like justia.com, avo.com, and FindLaw. There's a couple other ones too, but those are the 3 most prominent ones that you always see in organic search results when you're looking for purchase intent keyword phrases that are, like drunk driving lawyers or distracted driving lawyers or motorcycle accident lawyers or attorneys. Some of the more generic keyword phrases that are really hard to rank for, and they show that the searcher is looking for attorneys in their area. So you tend to see those directories show up first. And I've heard attorneys not really want to participate in some of those directories sometimes because they think maybe it's not worth their time, or they're trying to compete with those sites and trying to outrank them. And it's definitely good if you can try to get above those so people aren't clicking on those results and they're clicking on your site instead. But a lot of times, that it takes a long time to do that. So, and there's nothing wrong with developing profiles on those sites because it's another channel for exposure. Google's not always going to show like your website and then your social profiles and then other properties that you might own. They're going to show varying results so that searchers can get a good idea of what's out there. And if you can develop profiles on those leading directories, you can get some exposure a little bit quicker than if you were just focused on your site and focused on other properties, trying to get those to show up first. I mean, that's the ultimate goal, is to get your site to show up on the first page, but you can always expand your reach by showing up on those directories too.
It's like if you can't beat them, join them. Like, why try and fight it? Just they already built up tons of backlinks and authority, so just hop on there. Why not use it? Are there a certain number that you decide, okay, it's not worth my energy, right? So if I said, okay, Matt, I want to rank, how many of these directories should I go do? So you're like, okay, Justia, Avo, FindLaw. What are the other ones that maybe I should be thinking about if I want to just dedicate a little bit of more time into it?
So there's tons of them out there, but not all of them are that great. You can find some good lists online that show some of the top ones. Rankings.io has a good list. But I think we might actually have one on our blog too. But if you go to the blog up there at the top of the screen, and then go to one of our posts, I think it's a local SEO post. Down a little bit, right there. Scroll back up just a hair. It says local SEO for lawyers, how to dominate in local search. And then scroll maybe about halfway down the page. And we keep a table on here of directories that are, the ones we've curated. pretty long post.
If you want to know anything about local SEO, then you should go to this post.
This is the Bible. There it is right there. So
So FindLaw, Avo, Justia.
Martindale, Lawyerland, Nolo, lawyers.com is a good one, Best Lawyers, hg.org. All these directories are really authoritative, good places to get links and build out profiles. Now,
got it.
It's not enough to just go on there, put in a picture, put in a link to your site, and your title and maybe a couple other bits of information. Trying to fill out these profiles as robustly as possible. When Google sees profiles that are kind of like thin in nature, they don't have a lot of information, they tend not to get crawled very frequently. So the more information you can add, the better. If you can add your social profiles and a really long description, maximize whatever character limit they have available. Make sure you put in all your awards. Anytime if you have like a blog or if there's a spot for blog posts, put those in. Profile images, a spot for your firm's logo, things like that. Just fill it out as completely as possible.
Yeah, have someone from your team do it. I mean,
if you
don't have to do it. They could build it out, and it could be really good. And you could see like these have huge, authority sites.
Yeah, the DR on those, which stands for domain rating, is just a measure of how authoritative a domain is, and it's a metric between 0 and 100, where the closer to 100 the domain is, the more authoritative it is. So to put that in context, Facebook might be at like a 98 or a 95. And, so these are all pretty authoritative sites.
Is this a loophole, Cornell University, where you can get into their directory? Because I'm going to go there today after we're done. I'm going to put my stuff.
That one's actually
.edu sites are like really hard to come by.
That's attached to Justia. So if you claim your profile on Justia, which is kind of tricky to do, you have to verify via email or via phone with their website to make sure it's you, and that profile information will actually get ported over to lawyers.cornell.edu. So it's kind of a dual.
That's huge.
Yeah, it's a really good link.
Wow.
And it's free. It's free to do.
Do it today. I'm going to do it. I mean, even though I don't have a law firm. But
you got to be an attorney. But
forget that. So anything else with directories that people should know about or think about?
Don't shy away from them. Sometimes there's some information out there about directories being spammy, and there are for sure a lot of directories that are not worth your time. But if you go to our site and you check out that list, anything on there is going to be good. And then if you only want to focus on a few of them, the leading ones like Justia, FindLaw, and Avo are great to develop profiles on. Get reviews on them, as part of your review campaigns if you have them, and just fill them out really quickly.
Why don't we go over, Matt, a little bit about, I know we did a search for drunk driving lawyers as an example. Do you want to point a few things out here, or should we wait till the second?
No, this is fine. Yeah. So, like I was talking about earlier, where for a lot of keyword phrases, directories will be some of the first organic results to show up, and you can see it in this search right here. So, after the ads in the map pack, the first organic listing to show up is a directory, justia.com, for that keyword phrase, and then you got law info. That's actually a directory, and then Avo after that, and then FindLaw after that. So the first page there, I mean, they're
all directories.
There's already 4 listings there of directories, and you can certainly go after that keyword phrase if that's a practice area that you're going after. But it will take some time and a lot of effort and investment to outrank these sites because they've already got the authority. They've already been doing it. But you can create a profile on there. Make sure your categories are in this case, it would be for criminal defense. Make sure you're in that category. Make sure you have those keyword phrases in your profile somewhere, and you may be able to show up on those pages in advance of being able to outrank any of these sites on the first page.
Got it. So that's directories. And so what's the next one?
I don't know. What is the next one?
So the next one, top 2 shortcuts.
Google My Business.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just to preface this, it's not necessarily any kind of faster way to get rankings, but it is a key way to get a lot of exposure a lot quicker than ranking in the organic results on the first page. So the directory we're talking about, which is actually a popular business directory, is Google My Business. So claiming your Google My Business profile as an attorney and completing that profile to the best of your ability and making sure all the information is in there is a great way to show up on the first page for your keyword phrases in your geographic location. So as long as you optimize it, as long as you get some decent reviews on there and you continue to work on it, add lots of images, add video if you have it, choose your category, you can...
and this is where they're going to show up. They're going to show up kind of in this map area right here.
That map area, yep. So that's known as the map pack. The local 3-pack is what they call it now. It used to be many more listings. I think they had 7 in there a while back, and now that they've narrowed it down to 3. There are 4 in here, but one of them's an ad.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, this is a way you can show up on the first page relatively easily just by claiming the profile, optimizing it, and getting some reviews.
Okay. So we have the directories, and then we have Google My Business, because again, like, you're using the leverage of these other engines that have been building up.
Exactly.
rankings.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Google has a vested interest in showing people relevant local information, and attorneys often serve local audiences. I mean, they're geographically constrained. No one's going to go outside of their state to find an attorney for the most part. They're going to look in their local area. And if they're searching online, this is what Google is going to show them. They're going to show them places that are close to them. Their top 3 ranking factors for local are distance, prominence, and relevance. And you can control the relevance and the prominence of the listing by optimizing it and by building links to your site. But the distance is the one thing you can't control. But as long as they're in your area searching for your law firm and you have a decent profile, it'll show up in search.
Yeah. And so, like, basically, I mean, if you look at this, there's ads, then there's the Google My Map, right? And then there's directories. So if you have to, I guess, participate a bit if you really want to get in there. And then there's maybe like an off. So, people always ask you all the time, Matt, like, how much does it cost for SEO? And obviously the answer is it depends. But you could see, I think, is this one a separate site, the drunk-driving.com? Is that someone's actually law firm?
That's probably a law firm. And there are, depending on the keyword phrase and its volume and competitiveness, there are firms that are outranking the directory sites. And it is possible to outrank them. But yeah, I mean, it's a no-brainer to sign up for some of these because it's either really low cost or it's free, and you can get a presence on there early on, and then you get a link to your site, and that's just another mention of your firm name or your attorney name on the internet. Another channel for you to be exposed in search when people are looking for services in your practice area.
But I'm sure this person has spent a lot of time, energy, and money getting to this position, I imagine.
I would imagine, yeah.
They even bought a separate domain for it.
I know we kind of just picked drunk driving lawyers out of the air, so I'm not sure what the search volume is on that. But if it's a really competitive keyword phrase and this person's on the first page for it, there's a really good chance, they spent a lot of time and money trying to rank for that.
Yeah. And so, anything else on I have one last. I want to talk about the bonus one, which I was joking around with you, but. Anything else that you could think of with the directory or the Google My Map?
Just on Google My Business.
Google My Business.
Just focus on getting reviews. For the category for attorneys, just make sure you pick a really specific category. Don't just pick attorney. If you're a personal injury attorney, there's actually a category for personal injury attorneys. If you're a criminal defense, there's a category for criminal defense. So make sure you pick a specific category and then fill out the profile as completely as possible.
Nice. So check that out. If you have other questions, you can check out their site, esq.marketing. Check out more podcast episodes and their blog. The bonus, and when I was joking around, I was sort of joking, but it wasn't really. There's a bonus one of how to rank, a shortcut to rank. And one of it is, how do you get on other sites and how do you get backlinks? One of them is actually podcasting.
That's for sure.
So
you'll be on the ESQ Marketing podcast.
Well, so I was just saying, like, actually, if you get on the ESQ Marketing podcast, well, I know you guys syndicate this to, over a dozen different channels with, links to their website and all those things. So that's a real way to get backlinks and ranking too, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we work really hard to try to rank our own site for attorney marketing related phrases, so it gets a decent amount of exposure. And every time we produce a podcast, we promote it on our social channels. A lot of paid advertising, a lot of email. So I mean, it can't hurt. And it's free to do.
Yeah. So if you are a law firm, and I mean, I know they're picky with, they can't choose everyone because obviously there's a limited amount of episodes and time. But if you're a law firm and you want to be on and share your expertise, you can also go to ESQ.marketing and contact them and suggest yourself or suggest someone else that you know. So, any final words, Matt, that you could think of?
Not really. Not really.
We're good to go.
Final questions?
No, that was great. I mean, again, like, people want, what are the couple things that are at least going to move the needle and get them started with several things? And I know you have abundance of resources on ESQ Marketing and the podcast too. So I encourage people to check it out. So thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. And everyone check it out.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Thanks for listening to the ESQ Marketing Podcast. We'll see you again next time, and be sure to click subscribe to get future episodes.